Summer is here, again. It comes around roughly this time every year, and so with it comes the deluge of tourists hopping on flights to boring places like Benidorm and Lanzarote. Whereas we both know the most interesting places to go on holiday is wherever the Faroese teams are going for their European adventures. So pack your bags as we jet off to Gibraltar, Finland and Finland. Let's start with the reigning champions Víkingur Gøta, who were at home to Lincoln Red Imps. Well, not quite at home, they were playing in Klaksvík Stadium, still a closer trip than their Gibraltarian opposition. But the change of scenery must have distracted them in some aspects because they came away from the first leg 3-2 down. Jakob Johannesson and the evergreen Solvi Valtenhammer scored the Gøta goals, but they never found themselves in the lead, with 2 goals from centre-back Bernardo Lopez putting Lincoln in control and a Shadabar penalty giving the Gibraltarians the edge going into the second leg. With the big screen set up in Norra Gøta and the village out in force to try and will Víkingur to a victory in Gibraltar, it was not to be, as Lincoln held firm and won the game in the 96th minute, that man Shadabar having the last laugh and sending the Imps through. It's the first time ever that a Gibraltarian side have won both legs of a European tie. European football isn't over for Víkingur and they drop into the second qualifying round of the Conference League, except not quite. Due to the ever-baffling eccentricities of the early qualifying rounds, they have been awarded a bye to the third qualifying round. So for a brief period this week, we had Faroese teams simultaneously in the first, second and third qualifying rounds of the Conference League. So let's talk about those first qualifying round games which saw some Fenno-Faro feistiness. Clagwig's first leg was in the probably charming Finnish town of Seinäjoki against SJK. Andreasen put Klaksvík ahead, but SJK equalised, but it was up to Argentinian defender Gaston Telechia or Telechia, not sure, but they restored Klaksvík's lead to put them in the driving seat. But the big winners of the first legs were NSO Runwig taking a huge 4-0 win against HJK Helsinki. And it was a cross-Nordic effort as Faroese Jonsson, Norwegian Ness and Dane Oppegjaya all got on the score sheet. The match was wrapped up by Clement Olsen, who else? Granted, HJK played over an hour with 10 men, but to keep up that intensity for the rest of the match and knock them bruised back over Bothnia takes some doing. Now nothing is certain in football, because NSO had scored 4 goals in Europe 3 times before, and only went through once. That was when they beat Barry Town 5-1 in 2020, where there was no second leg. In 2015, they beat Lindfield 4-3 in the Faroe Islands, but lost the reverse leg 2-0, heading out to the Europa League at the first attempt. They also scored 4 goals against Hibernian, but actually lost 6-4 on the night, 12-5 on aggregate. But even the most long-suffering NSO fan would be confident that this would be the one they didn't blow. Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding. I thought this only happened on FM. NSO were down to 10 men after Fabian Ness was sent off after 15 minutes, and they defended for their life, but then this goal happened and gee whiz. Helsinki's 5th goal was the 49th shot of the match. Overall, over the 120 minutes of the match, Helsinki had 60 shots. NSO just the 3, 2 of which came in the last 5 minutes. If you're wondering, the Faroese for bottled it is Fløskata, a night to forget for NSO as they sink into hell in Helsinki. This is all too familiar to Klaksvík fans, of course, who in this very stadium last season conceded 2 injury time goals to lose to HJK 4-3 in the Conference League playoffs. So HJK are quickly becoming the bad guys of this channel. Speaking of Klaksvík, it's over to Vitopamyra, which was hosting its second European match of the week, and Seinäjoki were the Finns in town this time. This was infinitely less stressful, as goals from Arne Fredriksberg and Paul Klatskard put Klaksvík into a comfortable 2-0 lead and 4-1 up in the tie. No Helsinki-style comeback for Seinäjoki, happily for Faroese hearts. It means NSO drop out of Europe in the most gut-wrenching of manners, and Klaksvík march on to the second qualifying round, where they will play Radnitsky away on the 24th of July and at home on the 31st. Also in this round, we have HB playing Danish side Brøndby in what should be a classic, and one match that both sets of fans will be looking forward to. We've just got enough time to check in with how things are standing in the domestic league during what is their summer break, and the bad news continues for NSO as a run of 1 win in 6 has more or less ended their title challenge. Klaksvík are running away with it with 15 wins out of 16 and no defeats, potentially eyeing up their record points haul of 77 out of a possible 81 which they set in 2022. FC Suðuroy won their last game against 07 Vesta, lifting them off the bottom of the table and out of the relegation zone in what looks to be a three-way battle to avoid the drop. So, in conclusion, heartbreak for NSO, Clagwig continue and Butching get a rest for a couple of weeks. The draw for the third qualifying round is on the 21st of July, so keep an eye out for that, and I'll be back in August with a summary of the second qualifying round. Tack for watching. If you're in the Faroe Islands, have a great Ula Circa, and I'll see you next time.